师傅好，同学好。
So this section we call it, what do you call sound? Oh, what is a sound? What do you call sound? Before we start to read it, I want you to know how to read a 公案 or call in or recorded sayings or Zen doctrine. Right? And in this kind of thing, right? Yeah, so let's turn to the next page. In this kind of dialogues, right? You can say, oh, you can say the Zen story, a call in, 公案, or Zen story. You may find the settings so often like one master, one teacher, and one student, right? Yeah, it's either the teacher asks the student a question or the student asks the teacher a question, right? So we, as a practitioners, what do we do? How do we read a Zen story? So firstly, you need to put yourself in the student's situation, right? So it is the teachers asking you this question, or you are the student asking that question. This is first thing. Secondly, you will find that there's so many things that you don't understand there. So how can we read the Zen stories if we don't understand it at all? Because sometimes the question, the teacher's question sounds like a bizarre, right? Or their answers sound so strange, right? So how can we try to understand this kind of Zen stories? Okay, firstly, you apply your meditation, your meditative experience. Right? So you probably say, hey, I don't have much. Everyone is so humble when you're talking about meditative experience. You will say, oh, no, I don't have much experience, right? If that is the case, then apply your right concept. So what is your right concept? You say, I don't know whether I have the right concept about Zen or Zen meditation. But actually today, you have already built up some right concepts. For example, you know, right, you have learned the theory that we are no self, our self-nature is no self, and all are equally no self. Yes? Secondly, you know the core value of Zen meditation or investigating Zen is not about realization, right? Those we can take it as a side benefit, right? Right? The core value or the purpose is to uncover our self-nature, right? During the process, we probably will know our forms or our mind movements better and better, right? So at least in this morning, in this afternoon in Taipei, so you already built up this kind of right concept. So with that, we are going to read this section, right? And this is a Yunmen Wenyan teaching, right? He's the founding master of Yunmen Lineage, right? So one day, Master Yunmen addressed the assembly and quoted another master's teaching. That teaching is when knocking on the void, when knocking on the air, knocking on the void, it makes a sound. When knocking on wood, there's no sound. This is another master's teaching, right? Think about that. When knocking on the void, it makes a sound. When knocking on wood, there's no sound. And then the master Yunmen knocked at the air with his walking stick. Hey, watch me. I don't have a walking stick. That proves I'm still young, right? Knock in the air and say, "Ay, yeah, yeah." And hit the board. Does this make sound? Answer me, yes or no? Let's do it again. The master Yunmen knock at the air with his walking stick and say, "Ay, yeah, yeah." And then hit the board. Does this make sense? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? And the students answer, yeah, it makes sound, right? But the master say, hey, you worldling, you, this common person, you, this average person. And then he knocked the ball again. What do you call sound? What do you call sound? What is a sound? Does this remind you of a Japanese Zen koan, like the sound of one hand clapping? Yes, similar, right? Get confused. The sound. What is the sound of one hand clapping? Right? See. So what is it? What's going on here? Right? Knocking on the air. Knocking the air on the void. And they say make sounds, right? Knocking on the void, it makes a sound. And when you knock on the board, and you hear it, right? You heard it, right? But if you say, yes, it makes a sound. And the teacher will say, hey, you worldling. You, this common person. Why is it? Apply your meditative experience, right? It seems like look at you, then I see that, oh, I don't have that kind of meditative experience. Okay, then apply your right concept about Zen, right? Your Zen concept. What is worldly? Like a common people, like a before you, like a this kind of discrimination, but this term has been used so often in all the Zen teachings, in the Zen stories. So when we say you are such a worldling, like a common person, which means you fall in what? You dwell in forms, right? Remember? Yeah. You just care about the forms, right? You're blind by the forms. Yes? Yes? You didn't dig into the nature, right? So we are not talking about this sound at all. Who cares, right? So what do we care about? The nature, right? Yes? Yes? And then how do we think about this Zen story? When he said, it makes sense, he said, hey, you're worldly, which means, hey, you just fall on the form of a sound, right? You just dwell on the form of sound, yes? Yes? Right? So what do you call sound? You're still on the form of a sound, right? How about the nature? How about the cell nature of sound? Have you thought about that? So with one simple question, the teacher actually is like, hey, we're not talking about forms, right? And the teacher tests the students' level or right concept or their endeavors on their meditation, which means, hey, Did you kind of relate everything, kind of apply your Zen concept into everything in your daily life? Or not, right? Or at least you will get so confused, right? You will say, hey, what are you doing, Master Yunmen? Right? It kind of, I don't know how to answer this. I want to answer yes, you make sounds, but on the other hand, I know this answer will be wrong. I don't understand at all. Yes? Yeah. So this way, you face your mind movements honestly, frankly. Yes. And this way, you acknowledge that you don't know. You don't know what that person's talking about. You don't know what your teacher's teaching, right? And you want to dig deeper. The only way can lead you to kind of involve to your meditation practice or put more energy into it is at the first step, you need to acknowledge that I don't know. And then it's like, do you care? Do you want to know it or not? All right. So do you like to read this Zen story again? Okay. So interesting, right? Good. Let's read it again. Master Yunmen addressed the assembly and quoted Master Shen's teaching. Say, when knocking on the void, it makes a sound. When knocking on wood, there's no sound. Master Yunmen then knocked at the air with his walking stick and said, "Ay, yeah, yeah," and hit the board and asked him, "Does this make a sound?" The monk answered, "It makes sounds." So yielding, replied Master Yunmen. He knocked the board again and asked, "What do you call sound?" Okay, so think about it. Think about it. And that's for this section. Remember, firstly, you need to acknowledge you don't understand. Secondly, you know there's something called form and something called nature. Yes? And when we apply this teaching in our meditation practice, the first thing is we need to acknowledge that I don't know what no self is. All right. I hope you found this teaching helpful. And if you feel it's so helpful, let's join our palms and say, 谢谢 Master Yunmen. Yeah, good.
谢谢师傅，谢谢同学。